the title of this is Planet Earth, Her People, Their History, and the Current Dilemma. And this is titled Hard Truths Lead to Clear Choices. Hello, and welcome to part 10, which is the last part in what started out as a 9-part series and became a 10-part series. And this is titled Hard Truths Lead to Clear Choices. When I look at what's going on here on the surface of our planet and what is considered normal among other civilizations, both in planet and off planet, I want to cry. Here are some of the differences between the way we live and the way other people from other planets live. Number one, other people are healthy. We are sick, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. 2, other people are generous and caring. We almost pride ourselves on how well we can cheat and how much we can get away with. Number 3, other people live in peace. We have nothing but continuous war. Number 4, other people live cooperatively in simple abundance with everything they need. We have staggering poverty, blatant racism, and vicious competition. Number 5, other people have developed their consciousness to an extraordinary degree. We waddle around in mindless ignorance while telling ourselves how great we are. Number 6, other people have taken the time to understand the nature of reality. We are in too much of a hurry to understand anything. Number 7, other people live in pristine cleanliness and order. We live in filthy cities and constant chaos. Number 8, other people surround themselves with beauty, harmony, and materials that contribute beneficial frequencies to mind and body. We surround ourselves with cheap materials that contribute to disease, tell ourselves that we cannot afford beauty, and have no idea how to live in harmony with anything, be it plant, animal, or even our families. Number 9, other people have no use for money and have organized life and resources so that everyone is taken care of. We lie, cheat, steal, and murder for money, never have enough, and are committed to struggling for more of everything so that we can feel like we're better than others. Number 10, other people have educated themselves with truth. We have entertained ourselves with illusions, stories that have little to do with anything real or truthful. Number 11, other people have integrated amazing and powerful technologies into their lives. We have been sold invasive technologies that will keep us slaves. Number 12, other people have assessed their space, their time, their resources to maintain balance and maximize pleasure. We assess the space, the time, and the resources of those we intend to victimize and take advantage of. Number 13, other people have matured sexually. We are lost in a world of porn, honey traps, and guilt. Number 14, other people do not eat their children. We torture, use, abuse, and even eat children mercilessly. Number 15, other people live consciously in such a way that doing no harm is paramount. And everything they do, say, and think is aimed at healing self and others. We live unconsciously in such a way that everything we do, say, and think is harmful to others, and nobody cares. Lastly, number 16, other people take responsibility for organizing themselves and their laws around principles based on love, equanimity, truth, and generosity, and other things, other ethics. We continue to drift, fail to take responsibility for ourselves, and remain disorganized until strong men, priests, and politicians come along and force their ideas of organization onto us, which we then use an excuse to divide into camps and complain about one another. In drawing all of this to a conclusion of one sort or another, let's review what we have covered in these parts, part 1 through 9, at least some of what we have covered. First, in the 1930s, we talked about Edgar Cayce, who said there was a Hall of Records under the Sphinx and that it would be discovered in the late 1990s, and it was actually found in early 2000s. A cavern containing extraordinary technology showing our true history was discovered in Romania in 2003. That historical record showed that we were developed by Syrian visitors to planet Earth and have continued to evolve ever since. Science has been unable to figure out the nature of reality because they've refused to see that consciousness is the basis of what they're trying to figure out. We have stalled in our evolution, and we are regressing into greater victimhood and helplessness. We have a variety of influencers, people who have tried to get us to see what's happening in our world. And a few of these influencers, including those we have mentioned above, Benjamin Fulford, Donald Trump, Tyler and Doug Gabriel, Michael McKibben, Patel Patriot, Kim Goguen, and a host of others, are offering us information about our situation that provokes deep anxiety in many people, but are really only offering us information that we can use to evaluate our situation. Why are we getting all upset and anxious and worried? It's time to evaluate. Let's also keep in mind a background of other information coming at us 90 miles an hour from a host of YouTube personalities that range from Charlie Ward, Simon Parks, Cliff High, John Rappaport, to Juan O'Sullivan, Mike Adams, Catherine Austin Fitz, Del Bigtree, and many, many others pushing at us to look at both sides of the equation. And we must consider everything. The situation we are in, the people trying to inform and influence us, our true history, our potential as human beings, the interest of ETs in our sturdiness and resilience, the dreams of the kind of world we would like to live in, and the long predicted leap or shift in consciousness. The history we have been fed is a history of control, put in place by those who believe they could control us forever. Their formula for control is based on regular resets that force us to adjust to the controlled changes underway. The current reset is not new. There have been regular resets over a couple thousand years, And each reset is designed to respond to whatever personal, mental, and emotional growth has occurred since the last reset in order to keep it all in line. New resets are designed to curb that growth, distract us, and carefully push us in a particular direction, always away from the truth. The goal of the controllers is to create distractions full of controlled promises that hint at a glorious future that then never materializes. Down the road, when we have figured out the game currently being foisted on us, there will be another reset with all new distractions and promises, which is exactly what we are seeing at this point in time. Can our situation evolve in our favor? Indeed, how must it evolve if we want a good outcome? Is there a path that will take us to a better future than the one we're currently looking at? Yes, there is, but it's not a quick fix. It's a long, steady, keep your eye on the goal path. Just keep stepping along. There are over a dozen steps or stages or things to keep in mind here to get this situation to evolve the way we want it to go. First, we must awaken to the game, the fact that we are being played, to the reality of the changes happening around us, to the truth, to ourselves, etc. We have to wake up. 2, if we can awaken, guides will appear to help with the process of awakening. 3, conversations, communication, and education must be reclaimed as open and free between and among all people. The bottom line, we must learn to listen deeply to one another. Number 4, goals, principles, and processes that lead to the world we want to live in must be decided and set in place. Number 5, an honest assessment must be made of what we already have, what's worth keeping, and what is not beneficial for us. Number 6, experiences from which wisdom can be gained must be collected and reflected upon. So important. Number 7, transition structures must be created to address gaps, uneven distribution, poverty, and other shortcomings that we created by not paying attention to what is. Number 8, once we get moving in the right direction, leadership must be constantly appraised and reappraised to make sure we are listening to the right people. Number 9, there must be an ongoing process of rethink, reorganize, rebuild, and review. Rethink, reorganize, rebuild, and review the transition structures, because transition structures will only be appropriate for time. Number 10, we must be willing to revise and revise again and again until stability and homeostasis is achieved. Number 11, only when homeostasis within society is achieved will we be free to develop ourselves and our technology. We have to make a living. We don't have time to develop consciousness. We need homeostasis. Number 12, we will know we are succeeding when we see peace, experience security, and have lives that are enhanced by technology instead of threatened by technology. And number 13, we will know we are succeeding when we discover joy in the simplicity of the everyday, capital E, everyday. So there's a lot of talk going around that talks about war and resistance right now. But can we resist? Should we resist? And if yes, what should we resist? The truth is, we really don't have time to waste on resistance. If we do resist, what we are actually resisting is our future and the promise of peace. We are resisting the development of humanity's built-in skills, such as telepathy or clairvoyance. We are resisting working with new forms of energy, a more evolved social order of simple abundance, and much, much more. Why do most people live inside their planets, including those who live inside ours? Living on the surface of a planet is symbolic of living on the surface of the self. Failing to go deeper into the structure of the self to discover the hidden potentials that would catapult us into a whole new understanding of reality and the possibilities there. Living on the surface also leaves us subject to violent cataclysms and the destructive forces that hang over us like the sword of Damocles. Our work is cut out for us. Here's a little list that suggests a few things we can begin working on, or at least be aware of. 1, DNA responds to frequencies. When we fill ourselves with dead and low frequency food, we shut down our own functions and lower DNA. When we live in square boxes made of materials that take energy from us instead of adding energy to us, we lower our DNA. When we listen to destructive music, we lower our DNA. When we watch violent, frightening, or uninspiring movies, we lower our DNA. When we stay in boring jobs or unfulfilling relationships, we block the energy of our own DNA and eliminate our own possibilities. When we fill our days and weeks with stress and fear and worry, we lower our DNA. When we engage in war, we hurt ourselves and lower our DNA. And when we disconnect from Mother Nature, we become less intelligent and lower our DNA. The result is that we are not moving into fifth dimensional living or even fourth dimensional lives. We are regressing to two-dimensional existence. And the perfect example of this is the concept of the flat earth theory that people keep talking about. The idea that the earth is a two-dimensional concept was put out there by the fools in the cabal who wanted to confuse and distract us from any expansion of consciousness. And I'm astounded by the number of people who have fallen for it. When we stop screwing around with stupid ideas, when we stop acting like little kids who feel guilty because we think we're in trouble with some unseen parents or authority, when we stop thinking that we are going to raise our frequencies and ascend above the fray, we might have a chance to expand consciousness to include some of the higher frequencies. We are in this world because this is what our consciousness is capable of at the moment. Everything in this world is a symbol of how we use the energy at our fingertips. Every symbol, whether it's a chair, a nuclear reactor, or a toothbrush, is an indicator of what we know about energy. And each is a contributor to the kind of experience we have here. That experience is meant to teach us that we create our reality. Everything in this world is what it is because a reality system is the result of the consciousness of the people in it. What is energy? It's consciousness in motion. Consciousness is the great power we have at our fingertips. Again, why do you think religions teach that God is a great power outside of us? A power we must appeal to for what we want? They teach this because they're using consciousness to create a world in which they or their appointees are the ones to whom we appeal for the things we want. If we want to step into our own power to ascend, we have to change everything. The food, the clothing, the housing, the energy sources, the work, the education, the technology, the way of doing business, the government, the beliefs, the mental habits, the emotional programming, the things we buy or dispose of, everything, so that the energies with which we surround ourselves contribute to our progress as high frequency, high consciousness beings. Of course, to do any of this, we have to change our thinking and our ideas. And to do this, we have to change our understanding of how we came to be, what sustains us, and the nature of reality. The goal is not wealth. It's a spirit of possibility, a spirit of gratitude, of exploration, cooperation, a spirit of love and kindness, caring and trust. In other words, we have to move into true spirituality. When we are expressing the true spirit of the self, we are being fully human. Well, what does it mean to be human? While wrestling with that question last year, I suddenly heard a voice say, "You are threshold beings." Threshold beings. To be on a threshold suggests that we are becoming or about to change or about to step into something new. Look at how we start. 2 tiny microscopic cells that reach a new threshold of being every day for months. By the time they are ready to move into a new world, they have become a 6-pound human. Once born into this world, the threshold of being changes again. And we develop from tiny 6-pound infants into 200-pound adults who then use their power to reproduce as well as design and build stuff that they think will make life better. Sometimes the desire to make life better only equates to a paycheck. And sometimes the reproduction is only seen as a side effect of sex. But the truth is that making things and reproducing are essential aspects of being human. The joy of life is in being able to create things you like. And what is the importance of reproducing? What advantage does this give to the threshold of being? Reproducing is the first step to becoming eternal. Since we are created from source, which never gets used up or depleted, if we die, we just return to source. We return to light, not dust. Throughout life, we are on the threshold of becoming source again. Like flowers that grow from a seed, blossom, create new seed, and then drop to the ground to become the ground from which they grow. We are the flowers of life. We grow from the seeds of egg and sperm, flower, and after contributing our seed to the ongoing expansion and existence of life, much like flowers, we drop back into source to become the ground from which we grow again. So perhaps the answer to the question, what does it mean to be human? Is that it means that we are the flowers of life. By virtue of our status as flowers, we keep life going, help keep source expanding. This ends up keeping ourselves going as one of the species of life, because we have the power to create. And in a very real way, we are in the category of creator gods, albeit many are quite unaware of this status until they've at least worked their way through some of the early steps of awakening. Perhaps it would be more accurate to say we are beginner creators with much to learn and many practice rounds to go through. We are like annual flowers who, year after year, freeze and fade at the first frost. There are many forms of perennials out there, but we have not achieved perennial status yet. You have to be patient with perennials. They do not usually flower that first year, and sometimes not even the second year. They focus on growing, put down deep, resilient roots, and then they flower. And they are often stunning when they do. They are stately, elegant, large, brilliant in color, unusual in shape and aroma, powerful in their medicine, and quite distinct from the annuals that provide a lot of color and dramatic effects, but have no staying power. Does our status as humans mean we, as threshold beings, are to learn to put down roots, to create seed humans in the early part of life, and then step through to another version, a perennial version that we have deliberately and consciously created? Because together, all of humanity across the cosmos, together, we make up the vast, unfathomable Godhead we call Source. Like the fish that cannot fathom the ocean it swims in, we seem unable to grasp that we are made of Source. We are in Source. We use Source to create. We eventually become nothing but Source. And Source is the reason we are threshold beings. Because Source is forever being refreshed and renewed by us. We who are constantly, continuously unfolding, reaching new states of being, becoming eternal, creating new forms of life forever in an ongoing cycle of existence. To be a human is to be a flower in the field of life. To be a human is to be a regenerator of Source. To be human is to be a creator. To be human is to be on a threshold of becoming. To be human is to express the capacities of life. To be human is to be among the gods. To be human is to be a keeper of life. To be human is to learn to be perennial. To be human is to be rooted in Source. To be human is to be Source. So people run around talking about spiritual this and spiritual that. They want to be more spiritual, but what is true spirituality? It is the unique spirit of the individual. Since every individual is rooted in Source, and Source is an extraordinary state of being with one thought, that thought is, I am, and one feeling, that feeling is intense love and bliss, then to achieve true spirituality is to trust the love that has shaped you into someone unique. And then go about life in a way that expresses that unique self. The way you express that self changes over time as you move through one threshold after another, but you will eventually be faced with the choice of alignment, which means that you will align with life or you will align with death. When everything you do nurtures life, you will have eternal life. And I think that's where our country, our world is at. What are we going to align with? Sadly, we may talk about aligning with life, but then we act as if we're in alignment with death. We talk about compassion, but then we act in mean-spirited ways. We talk about generosity, but then act as if there's not enough money or stuff to go around. We talk about democracy, but cooperate with dictatorship. We talk about truth and then spread gossip and fear in every direction. We talk about abundance, but hoard food, money, guns, and even ourselves, the true self. We talk about honesty and ethics, but go to work for corporations that operate with a spirit of dishonesty, a disregard for individuals, as well as disregard for other creatures and systems of life. We talk about fairness, but then stand mute in the face of obvious injustices that we think, well, that doesn't affect me right now. True spirituality means facing all of these contradictions we are living. True spirituality means developing a spirit of contribution, meaning that we take responsibility for what we bring to the reality and the experience of the everyday. True spirituality means marshaling ourselves to understand human development and using that understanding to then develop our children beautifully. The goals in teaching them would include the goal of understanding consciousness and energy, working to achieve a higher frequency, having a better idea of how reality works, and demonstrating ways to use their power so that the whole system benefits. True spirituality is not an airy-fairy foo-foo idea that we use like a drug to dull the pain of reality. As pointed out above, true spirituality concerns itself with the energies in our food, our technology, and our communication. It's especially important in the design of our houses, clothing, our heating and cooling systems, and the materials we use to build or produce these items. Spirituality is critical in the work we do and in our relationships with plants and animals, wind, water, soil, and the sun. Spirituality is especially important in the way we educate ourselves and raise our children. The information we pay attention to, the science we explore, the technology we create to make life easier, and the kinds of fun and entertainment we engage in. The spirituality we develop will lead to the gratitude we feel, the health we maintain, the ways we heal ourselves, and the evolution of our relationships to the fourth and fifth dimensions of living. True spirituality demands that we recognize the unique spirit that lives in each of our family members, workplace peers, neighbors, and companions. Some people are very serious. Others are goofy or comical. Some people are creative and have to try everything, while others love the security of routine. Some are very orderly and proceed from start to finish, while others leave a trail of half-done projects as they bounce from idea to idea. Some make decisions based on very quick perceptions, and others prefer to question, wait, or try things before deciding how to proceed. And the bottom line in all of this is that life is a system. It's a system that has to be nurtured, supported, and enjoyed. We have been lost in a maze of illusion and disinformation. Is it too much to ask that we wake up and get excited about the building of a whole new reality? I leave you here to observe the wider world around you, to consider the fork in the road that we have come to, and to think about the excitement of exploring and putting together a whole new dimension of life. Thank you for listening.